So this is first of all, thank you so much for being willing to lead on this trip. And I want to explain a little bit of what you read in the email. So the big thing that we need to figure out, just kind of as EBIC, is we're going to run a VBS-like program in Lincoln Heights for about 2.5 hours every single day. So to make sure that we had enough material for that, Jenny and I have been working pretty closely, coming up with content, coming up with a plan to where we can actually pull this off. The big thing that you need to know is that you will be paired up with another leader, and you two together as leaders will have about 9 or 10 students under you to help you pull off this VBS style thing. So this is the way that breaks down. Okay, so as I'm talking about these small groups, a big thing you might be wondering is who the groups are. So here we go. First group is, can you see that? There we can see it, sort of. Is Carol and Brian, and that's going to be Haley, Kiera, Michaela, Callista, Derek, Isaac, and Scott. The second group is going to be Janelle and Becca, and you're going to have Ellen, Lily, oh boy, who is that? Anna, Nick Chapman, Eddie, Josh Phillips, and Nick Walton. The final group is going to be Jenny, Eric, Ella, Allison, Molly, Marley, Ryan Krupp, Gavin Reed, and David Shen. Notice that I'm not actually in a group. That's because I'm teaching those Christ connections every single day, but I also thought it'd be helpful if I was freed up to kind of go group to group and make sure everybody has what they need and help resolve any kind of situations that might pop up a problem. So I'm hoping to be able to bounce around and make sure everybody has what they need and everyone's prepared. So the first thing you're going to do in your small groups, and this happens to be day 4. And so what you're going to do that day is there's a couple questions that relate to the lost parables. So that is like the lost coin, the lost sheep. It's all from Luke 15. So there's 4 questions. The first one, have you ever lost something special? You just want to ask these questions to get the students thinking about the content. The next thing is you're going to have a little bit of a session starter activity, and that day is the lost coin activity, which is basically the who's got the button game. We're going to have all the materials in your little box, so you're not going to have to worry about being prepared. We've done all that for you already. Next, you're going to say a little bit of something to your group, which is scripted in there. It says, say to your group, our story today is actually 3 stories. Jesus told parables about a lost sheep, a lost coin, and a lost son. Why do you think Jesus talks so much about lost things? We'll learn more soon. Now, what that is a transition into the large group. And the large group is the thing that each of you individually is going to be responsible for personally one day out of the whole week. And so we've broken down exactly what that's going to look like. Every day we want to have a countdown. That tells the kids that we're getting ready to get started. And what that is one student to stand up and just count down really loud. So imagine basically Brian Mitten standing up and going, 10, 9, 8, and we want the students to join in with them so that we get this countdown thing going and everybody's engaged with what's about to happen. Then there's going to be an intro to the lesson and big picture. That's me every day, so you don't even need to worry about that. That follows kind of a common thread that is somebody sitting around a campfire telling a story, because every single day's content is kind of around parables and stories. The next thing is a human timeline. Now, why we're doing a human timeline is to get the students to understand and remember what we've done each day. So that is as simple as one student holding up a picture that has to do with the day's lesson. That stuff is already provided in your packets. All you need to do is decide what student is going to stand in line with that picture. It's pretty simple. The next thing is the Bible story, skit, and lesson. Now, that's probably the biggest piece that you're going to want to figure out. And what that is for this day, there's 3 separate parables: lost coin, lost sheep, lost son. You're going to plan out as a group how you're going to act out that story. So you're going to want to think about who's going to be what character, who's going to be the narrator, and the story text is already provided for you in your packet. So you're going to read through that story text slowly and as creatively and engaging as possible, and have the students in your group act out those different roles so that the neighborhood kids get what the story is in an engaging way. After that, I got to get on the right page here, is the main point card. Now, the main point card, again, is just kind of the main idea from that lesson, and that's provided for you in your packet. Basically, there's a little bit of text that goes with that, that explains the idea of that. And so the person holding up the main point card is going to want to explain that just a little bit. So whoever you assign to do that, make sure they understand they're going to hold up that card, and they're also going to go through the bullet points of that story. Finally is the Christ connection. And the Christ connection is basically how every story that we're telling throughout the week connects to who Jesus is. Because the big thing that we want to do when we go to Lincoln Heights every day is tell these kids who Jesus is and what he's done for them. So every single day there's this Christ connection piece that I'm going to lead. So that might be a little bit more bulkier, but I've already planned that out ahead of time, and I already know how each thing is going to be explained and taught, so you don't even need to worry about that. Finally, we're going to have a prayer. And you want to make sure that the prayer gets led in a way by somebody who can lead that out well. So not all of our students are comfortable praying out loud. Make sure it's somebody that can do that. Finally, let me see, page 4, we're going to go back into a small group activity. And the small group activity is outlined again right here on the sheet. So what we've done, we've spent a lot of time making sure that you have all the materials you need, all the content you need, and all you need to do is plug students in and make sure they're working on what they need to cover in the large group session. If you have any questions about that, you can text me, you can email me, you can talk to me on Monday night. We want to make sure that you as a leader have everything that you need to be prepared for that night and what you're leading. Okay, so after we finish up with that large group session, we're going to go back into small groups, and we're going to do a few more breakdowns, kind of reviewing the stories and asking the students for reactions, what they learned, what they thought. We have these journals that they're going to go through as well. And the journals are pretty cool. It's literally just a simple question and have them draw a picture and stuff. So it's not real heady. It's not real hard to engage with. It's pretty easy to follow along with. After that, we have a snack time. We're going to have each day's material in kind of a Rubbermaid bin, so we'll make sure the snacks are always in that Rubbermaid bin. Again, we're prepared for up to 90 kids, so we got a lot of snacks. We're already ready to hand those out. We planned on doing that for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to have a great big game after that. So the games are also already planned out. If you have any input or anything you want, we're going to have about 25 to 30 minutes of game time each day. It's just a way to hang out with kids, kind of good time, because ultimately that's the big thing we want to do. So that's pretty much what you need to know from those big day parts that you're doing. Okay, so you might be wondering as well what we're doing every single day, like hour by hour. I'm going to make sure you get that on Monday night. We do have it. We do kind of we know exactly what's going on every single day. The big breakdown is from 9 until 1, we're hanging out with Welton's Camp in smaller groups of students. And then from about 2 to 4:30, we're going to be with our VBS group over at Lincoln Heights. And then 4:30 to 5, we're going back to Welton's group so we can break down the day with them. Again, we have all the materials. I just didn't want to overwhelm you with stuff ahead of time. So you'll get that Monday night, the full schedule of the whole week. I'm really excited about it. There are times that are going to be probably a little bit stretching. The big thing to remember is that as leaders on the group, as the adults on the trip, we really do set the tone, we set the expectations. So make sure as a leader on this trip, if you're feeling stretched, if you're feeling overwhelmed, do it as much as you can to be flexible, be positive, just show that you're enjoying yourself, that you like being there. We want our students to have a great week. We want Welton students to have a great week, and so we want to do everything we can to be a positive presence on the trip. Thanks for being willing to be a leader. I really appreciate it. And make sure you make it to our meeting Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Thanks. Talk to you later.